All right, so it says that I am live. Good morning. It is Wednesday, and I am sitting inside of my apartment, 7419 Wood Avenue in Woodridge. Um, so my phone is seeming to have a lot of issues for the past 2 days. It's hard for me to even get on any Facebook or anything. I'm not sure. I have an iPhone 11. Um, I try to keep the bill paid as much as I can. And it won't even let me like post any pictures or anything. I think it was like, yes, anybody ever heard that song, really good song. Um, I think um, just based on the situation that I'm going through. But it's by Hezekiah Walker. God favors me. I was trying to post that yesterday. I was also trying to post a throwback picture of my hair after I had taken it down out of braids for about it was pulled out of my head. So I come on here to talk about domestic violence and being of the pandemic. So I've been working for Swedish for 4 years, moved up here, divorced my husband, moved out, started working on my master's. If you come from state to state and coming from a different country, there's a lot of stuff that you don't understand about America. There's a lot of rights that you don't even have, probably should, but are really taken advantage of because you don't have the necessary paperwork and documents and stuff that you need. Or maybe even if there's someone in your family in that situation, that kind of can be used against you, I see. Um, so last year, around the beginning of the year, I think me and my ex, just stay. It just got really out of hand. I called the police several times. I believe even the neighbor um, called the police who jumped on me and pulled my hair out. I'm not sure if she thought both of us was illegal immigrants and, they were trying to see what was going on. But it was just a lot of mental and emotional abuse. And I don't think people realize, even when they're in it, mental or emotional abusive situations sometimes, like, when you know what I'm saying, you can't be without them, or, they push you down where you feel like you can't go on without them, then more than likely they probably did some type of mental or emotional abuse to you. Um, in the case of you're still there and you don't in my apartment, and I didn't want him to I didn't want my son to see me being treated that way by another male or man in front of him, because I didn't want him to get the idea that it was okay to treat me like that. So during the school year, my parenting plans for my divorce is that my ex-husband was to have my son for the whole school year, and then I was to have him for the summer, so I can just kind of get on my feet. I was moving out of a place where, I wasn't paying as much to a place where I was. And, I was just trying to be able to maintain the bill stably. Um, so during the summer, my son came and things really just got bad, because I don't know if like my ex may have seen it as a jealousy issue. The fact that we weren't together and I was putting my son first. Like, of course I am. There's a lot of stuff he needs to learn, a lot of stuff he needs to grow, a lot of ideas that he hadn't experienced or been exposed to, that he needed. And so I was, doing my best to wake him up in the morning, make sure he had a schedule. It's kind of got out of hand, like just following me around, harassing me, touching me, when I, inappropriately, when I didn't want to be touched, just all types of stuff, to the point where it got physical. And I was pushed into a wall. I have a whole um, actual hinge of the door. They were being slammed so much that pretty much they kind of broke apart. So I kept, calling police. Like, I want like a person who's like required, you know, to pay or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like to say, well, this is going to affect your credit or this is going to be in your name, you know, if it gets behind or whatever. So I told to get him off of my lease. So I did. Last year around August when I renewed my lease. I renewed my lease without him. I went to the leasing office, told her about the issues. And, you know, she told me if I could do it by myself. I didn't think, you know, if I didn't want a person around, obviously that was abusive to me, then, you know, that was my choice. So that's what I did. And so I had, by that time I had called the police almost 9 times, maybe 2 or 3 times, in which I called immediately because my son was there when it was happening. Um, and the last time that I called, I believe a Hispanic lady cop came. Before I called it, he was actually put out of here. It was a fake milk cop. So pretty much walked up to the apartment with him. I was downstairs with my son, another officer, and I guess they had, you know, a very small conversation. Supposedly she was sending him to work that day, but anyway, he comes back to my house, my son, that he's never going to see me again, and then I call the police immediately because I thought he was threatening my life at that point. While I'm on the phone, as he's walking out of the house, he says out loud that you're going to work in warehousing. CPS comes and knock on my door. So if you were to look into my apartment, a blow-up mattress that I had bought for just me to sleep on, and my sunroom was fully furnished purposely. Spent about $1,000, I think. Just, you know, putting stuff in his room because I knew he was coming for the summer. And then I was going to take literally every other check as a guest teacher and pay for each room to be furnished or whatever. But, you know, after the pandemic, things kind of got, you know, out of hand a little, issues or whatever. And so I was able to get my son's room furnished and then I kind of just stopped. So in August, when she came into my apartment as a woman, she saw everything that was in here was for my son. I mean, basketball, goal, trampoline, plays, toys, kitchen, has kitchen set, has buy equipment to go swimming, just all the stuff in here was literally for my son. But he follows me out of my house downstairs, calling my name. I tell him I don't want to talk to him. He still kind of pushes the issue up on you have to have a court order. If I say, get away from my house, go. So I recorded the incident. In the video that I have, she pretty much admits that she was the person who called DCFS on me. She says something of a sort and makes up some lie and say, oh, Miguel said that you said you were in a parents' house for 2.5 years. I never had a gun when I was in college for 5 years before I moved up here. 2014, I literally had my baby, and a week later I moved up here after graduating May of 2014. So I have the video on my phone. And this is a video when I appealed for my hearing because 2 months later in November, I was called and told that I was indicated for neglecting my child and putting him in danger. Neither one, I mean, very well fed necessities, which is what neglected. It's never been without a house, shelter, food, clothing, all of those things. I was the one who was put in danger. Actually, I'm missing a teeth in my mouth right here. You know, any of that. And I'm not really insecure about it. You know, it happens and I'm gonna continue to smile and I'm gonna get it fixed. Eventually, you know, it's a teeth. You know, it's not like you took my soul away. No, you just took my teeth. So I'm a pretty much little tomboy, grew up with my brothers, playing football, climbing fences, scraping my feet, legs, stuff all the time. You know what I'm saying? But it's the fact that you literally ran into my face like a football player. On the count of, I didn't want to give you the keys to my car. You don't have a car. You don't have a license. You don't have, that's money coming out of my pocket, you know, to do something that I could prevent from the beginning. So I already literally been trying to find a new car, get a new car. You can't even help. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how would I be dating a person? How do you date a woman? You're not getting better. You're not progressing. You're not getting smarter. Nothing good is, better is happening. You're not happy. You're always, feeling, trying to study. You're always getting distracted. You know, everything's always an issue. I have my peace and my soul and nothing else in this world than to live with a man who is going to mentally and emotionally abuse me. Why? Because of the insecurity they have about themselves, because they feel less than a man, and because they want to take it out on you and say it's all your fault. It's all your fault. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. That was my ex-husband, and then it got even worse with my ex-boyfriend on the count of that he's not what we will say fully American, because you can claim to be American and not know your rights, not know your citizens, not have any documents or anything, but you can claim to be. It's a difference. Um, and so during that time, I think that was August 6th, um, the CPS and the police showed up to my doorstep. The police that she called the police also showed up. And so during my hearing, I guess attorney that defends the state in these cases, lots and lots of evidence concerning the situation. But during my hearing, I wasn't able to use any of it. Every time I tried to, open the door to be able to involve any of the evidence, there were words said, educated lawyer words said, that really didn't allow me to present any of my evidence. So this order of protections that I was denied 6 times. Because obviously, pain is not pain to me. I don't feel pain. Abuse is not abuse to me. I don't feel abuse. Um, you know, and I don't know. It's not. But point. I do have some reasons why I think it is. So this is August 4th. This is the guy. He's standing outside on my phone. Um, this is him. Also, see, he has his board. He's ready, I guess, to take a lot of information. With that being said, all of his questions I asked, he asked me all the questions that he could ask to make sure that he didn't have a reason to take my child. So I guess if any one of these questions would have been asked and not answered properly, probably would have gave him some more of a reason to, try to. But all of them I asked, is he in school? Does he have his shots? What is his parents? Do he have anywhere to go? Blah, blah, all of this, and no problem. After all of them were, oh, you just need to go and get the order of protection. Your son is fine, but you just need to go. So I go, and this CPS person goes after me to the courthouse. Obviously, I didn't do what I was supposed to do with my son at the courthouse. And so he calls me 2 months later and tell me I'm indicated. And so of course, I get in touch with the judge, the state attorneys, talk to them all throughout December, January, sent several, like I said, hundreds of emails of evidence, pictures of me and my son even after the incident occurred, that I'm with my son, spending time with him, all of that. And none of that was brought into consideration. I received a letter just yesterday, which is why I'm doing these lives every day, um, that I was denied and that I need to go to the courthouse that's been giving me all these issues, so that to file a complaint, so that the complaint can be reviewed by the circuit court. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, you know, if I have to take it all the way up to the Supreme Court, which is what I've been reading and seeing in different videos that, you know, even on TikTok, I was talking to one lady that took her 1.5 years to get her child back without a lawyer. So I can't really afford a lawyer. Due to the pandemic, I was let go because all the kids went to ELL and they didn't need some teachers. And so I filed unemployment. At the same time, I'm getting my master's in education. Been working on and off for the past 2 years, ever since I got my divorce, so that I can get the stability inside of the field that I've already been performing for 4 years. So between that, you know, and trying to pay for a lawyer and stably paying my bills, it's just not sensible, you know. Um, So this is the letter that I received yesterday concerning that. So Friday, I have a hearing because December 15th, I was walking down my stairs and I was attacked. My hair was pulled out, both sides of my head. I have pictures of the bald spots that were in my head that day. I had a pinched nerve. I went to a hospital after I was released from jail. And pretty much was denied my ethical rights there and went to my PCP, denied there too, and then went over to Adventist and finally got treated. They gave me some type of naked. I'm just not a person that, because I study biology in school and I know that, you know, medicine is not what they technically say it is. I don't like to take, you know how people got addicted to oxycodone. I don't like to take medicines because, you know, I don't see no reason to get addicted to anything that a doctor prescribes to me. Um, and if I can get rid of it by just doing natural exercises and stuff like that, I would rather do that than to pop a white pill and don't know what's inside it, because there's a such thing as placebos and pills, and mentally your mind can do the same healing if you're taking a placebo, which is a pill that doesn't have anything in it and you think that it does. So mentally that means your body can pretty much heal itself. So I'm not really that big, but here is the mass where the blood was on my lip when I got busted in the face with her purse. And then the pills that they prescribed me that day. But just going back to the incident of August 4th. So here's the video. Record. So, as I was saying, Officer Murray, this gentleman, this Hispanic gentleman named Roberto, comes to knock on my door, talking about DCFS, and he wants to talk to me. I told him no, I refuse to talk to him. Look, baby. Let me tell how do you even know my name? So somebody that called you and told you about me, and now you want to come to my house trying to get me roped off? Are you crazy? I have a good job. I work 2 jobs to get this house up here. I ain't doing shit illegal. This car is paid for. This insurance is in my name. The house is in my name. And my son is well taken care of. He goes to school at Romeoville High School. Okay? Not Romeoville High School. He goes to school in Romeoville. A basketball goal. I take him swimming all the fucking time. I done took him to every fucking park in Boulder. So you don't get to come to me and tell me and try to rope me off about my son when you get through talking. Okay? It's a lot of Hispanic kids out here. Their families are being deported back home to South America and ain't got nowhere to go. You worry about that case law. This one right here will have an education, a bachelor's degree, just like his mom, biological science, and may play sports to get him there. So you don't get to come to my door. I want to order protection. I don't want him to fight. So that is the video. So let's go to the part where the lady is talking and pretty much admitting that. Because we have to this bigger investigation. So what I think you was referring to is he doesn't need anything else. That's the person. So she shows up maybe 5 or so minutes after the first officer shows up. So I'm gonna go ahead and record this. So I done gave
information, and they want to supposedly say that I'm putting my son in danger. I'm not putting my son in danger at all. And I don't want DCFS investigating me because I'm doing every fucking thing I need to do for my son and more. Way more than a lot of these people do for their own son. Okay, I'm not accepting no paper. You can record the paper if you like, but I'm not accepting the paper. You get what I'm saying? And she called him, and they're both Hispanic. So that may be an issue right there in itself. Okay? I'm not stupid by a long shot. And this officer also has came up. Okay? I don't want any more questions and any more concerns from DCFS. My own car, my son is well taken care of. He goes and plays sports every day. He's learning the EL language. He doesn't have any bruises on him. This man want to take him off and take pictures of him like he's a damn animal. I don't have time for that. Don't call me anymore, please. Please. I don't want to be investigated anymore. Okay? All right? If you can try. Okay? Well, I'm just saying. I hope that this one is on. You better go and be in some of them like teaching them shit to be found. You want protection will be again. Understood?
So you see this?
So right here, this African American right here, he's well taken care of, okay? I don't want to be bounded. Don't call me no more. You got the information you need. It needs to be unbounded. You understand? Ain't no indication. Huh?
You hear that?
Order protection will be
You hear that? What did he say?
And don't come and see me.
He said Miguel needs to leave the home. I had called the police on him 9 times so he could leave my home. He said, in order for me not to be indicated, Miguel needs to leave the home. You still indicating me, even though he came back himself. Even this was the night before he threatened me and told my son I was never going to see him again. Therefore, I think he was very aware of what was about to happen. He also told me I was going to work in warehouses and factories like everyone else. He also told me I was going to work in warehouses and factories like everyone else. So my computer, I guess, is having some connection issues. The night before DCF shows up. So it was like, whatever, person that did neglect or put my son in danger, then that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, not one time could they say I did anything to my son. Not one time could they say I hurt my son. I put him in danger. He said Miguel needs to leave the home, right? I went and filed between the next day, which was the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, which was like a weekend, and that Monday. Between those 3 days, I had went and filed 6 order of protections, had denied all times. Finally filed a no civil rights person or something of the sort. And they gave me a court date for 30 days later. So that means this person could still live in my house up until 30 days, could be in my house up until he received the papers from the sheriffs or whoever brings the papers out. So the next day or so he comes in and he does the same thing. And so I called the police, and the police escorts him out my house. He finally volunteers to give up the key. The police said something to him in Spanish, which I believe he told him that my civil order of protection had been granted, and that, he was probably going to have issues in court being an immigrant. So he finally gave up my key, and he never returned to my house. But that didn't stop him from texting me or calling me or harassing me. The only time I called him when it was concerning this phone, because 2 years ago for his birthday, I got phones, and he was supposed to help pay the bill, actually pay the bill, if not pay half of it. But he couldn't even maintain that. So that's like the only thing that I have a conversation with him about. Like, other than that, I really don't want anything to do with you. Like, I have a whole fucking broken teeth and left with, all of these responsibilities because you refused to be a man. You took everything as jealousy or insecurities. You didn't know how to handle issues, and you want to take it out on me. And I'm not a jealous person, and I'm not an insecure person. I'm a person who makes a plan and stick to it until I finish the goal. And that was my reason for, I want to get obviously my own apartment and get my master's and be certified so that I can move on. This is not a permanent position for me. It was only temporarily. It's only temporarily. And that's what I had planned to do. But even in the video, and I didn't play all of it, she mentions that, Miguel tells her, this lie. And basically, I think she made it up at that point because if a person was to tell you that, I'm a violent person with a gun and threaten to shoot, I don't think you would have left my apartment that day. You get what I'm saying? That's the issue you should have handled right in that moment, especially if a child was there and my child was there. So if you thought that was going on for 1 second, then why didn't you handle it? Why didn't you try to tell me to take my son to someone else's house, or, tell Miguel he could never come back? In administration hearing, you said you were only sending him to work. So therefore, you gave him permission to come back to the house of someone who said or supposedly said that they were going to shoot him. So that's a lot, because if you think about, if you're a police, a trained police, even me untrained will know not to put anyone back in those situations. So you call CPS so he can write up a report on me and put me in a situation for what? So that I can never see my son again. So that I can work in warehouses and factories like everyone. My house, sped on. And don't get me wrong, if I wanted to fight, I would have fought. Okay, but I was defending myself. There's no reason for a 31-year-old woman to be fighting anyone. You get what I'm saying? I'm not, one of your ratchet for career. I'm looking for stability. I'm looking for progression. I'm trying to keep my credit up so I can invest in homes and have a cash flow so I can have something to leave the kids, that if I decide to push them out, I'll have something to leave for them so they won't start from ground zero. Okay. No, I'm going to stand my ground. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let you disrespect me. I'm not going to take you taking advantage of me lightly because you feel like, you think I'm from South America, or you think I have illegal immigrants in my family, or you think I'm messing with some drug dealer man, or, what I'm saying? It's like, it's a whole lot of things you can statistically put me in or categorize me as. You think I'm not socially equipped to be able to pay for a lawyer, or, whatever it is, to fight or get out of the situation. And no, I'm not, but I have a mouth and I'm gonna talk. I have a hand and I'm gonna write. I'm gonna fill out the applications needed and necessary to keep reappealing it. That's what I'm gonna do. So no, I'm not gonna quit. So here's the rest of the video.
Okay, come on.
So here. So I heard my address is admitting right now that I called the police 9 times on Miguel and they did nothing about it. But they called CPS on me.
No problem. And then yesterday, Miguel was arrested for making threats to him. Okay, sure was. And I'm saying I filed an order of protection against him, and I'm getting him put out my house. Okay, well.
So she just said it. Miguel was arrested for making threats against me. That night, he told my son that he would never see me again. This is after he had walked up the stairs with her that morning. This is after he had conversated with this same lady that morning. They walked up the stairs to so-called get some of his materials so that he could leave. And I'm thinking that's so good. But in the administration here, she said so that he could leave for work. So let's keep going.
Tell him goodbye. There's no need. Okay, well, I don't want the check. No. Miguel needs to be arrested. Miguel needs to go back to Panama because he don't know the U.S. fucking federal government rules. Yeah, and he's back out. And that's a lie because I ain't got no damn gun.
Now, you see how she's just coming up with scenarios and situations. And then she admits that she's the one who caused the DCFS man.
He told me the other day that he's going to ruin my career so I can work in temp agencies and factories just like all of his people. Do you hear what I'm here and get the jobs that they got. So God be damned if I work my.
So that's exactly what I told her. Because that night before he got arrested, those were his words. His words were to my son, "You're never going to see your mother again." That's what he said. And then I called the police because I thought he was threatening my life. He was pretty much telling me that this lady was about to call CPS on me. Okay. Then so like I said, if Miguel had said that about the shooting or whatever, as a police officer that morning when you walked him up here, there should have been something like he could never come back. You should never go back to her house again, right? But none of that. So I feel like all of these were just reasons, to have them to come out. And they had already knew they were going to find a way to indicate me no matter what.
Do you hear what I'm saying? And I'm saying that my
even though all the indications is a lie, because my child is well taken care of. Actually, school was about to start, so therefore he was going to his dad's house anyway. And you see how I feel? I'm already feeling like I know that this is what they're trying to do.
Mandated, yeah.
So you see how they're trying to, come up with all the blah blah.
Yes. After so many documentations, right? So it's been too many? Sure.
I had called the police over 9 times.
Guess what? I ain't gonna sit there and let you, if I follow you around like this, guess what? You're gonna be offended. And correctly. So I feel like I should be able to defend myself, and because I don't want to lose my career or my child, I'm gonna call you so you can handle him. Okay. Sure.
So did I not do the right thing? So is it because you got the calls, or is it because, he said that I was because you got the calls and you could have handled the situation, because the calls were from me for the emotional and mental shit that I was going through in my house, saying that I want this energy away from me. I want this, situation to be resolved. And that was him leaving and going to his parents' house, which is where he is right now, 10 minutes down the street, Bolingbrook. I moved here because I worked in Bolingbrook School District and I wanted to be close to my son. Okay, therefore it won't be hard for us to switch up, like when, my son's father wanted to have him, he could have him. When I wanted to have him, I could have him, and that's what I did. So I don't regret this decision I made. I don't regret, not calling the police. I don't. Even before, I'm not a police. I grew up in hood, and that's one thing we don't really ain't too quick to do is call the police on any damn body. You know what I'm saying? I've never been in a situation where I even wanted to date, someone who like did anything illegal or whatever, so I don't even put myself around shit like that. So it's like, I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm not trying to put you in danger. I'm just telling you to get out of my house and go somewhere else. If you can't respect that, then what you know what I'm saying? What is it that you're going to respect? You're obviously not going to respect me. So before, like I was saying, I called his mom to come and get him. His mom and his stepdad literally was outside of my house one day and telling him to come out of my house, leave her alone, come to our house, no. He took this long shower and act like he was going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then this his mom tells me, call the police here. Call the police, because Miguel mom doesn't speak English at all. Just barely. She's been here from Panama for 15 years, but just barely. But she's going to speak Spanish, which is her primary language. So that is, besides me learning a little Spanish in high school, I took 2 classes in Mississippi, because down there, everybody knows English. So a part of our curriculum, even our college curriculum, was to learn a foreign language. In order to get a degree, you had to take a foreign language in college. So I took Spanish as an elective because, you can do cooking, you can do healthcare, you can do all that. But most of those electives were over in another facility. So I just took Spanish where I could stay in my facility because I played a lot of sports. So being in the gym and close to the gym was more like, I guess, important to me. So I took Spanish from a Black teacher. He taught it to us for like 2 years, just, the base, how to read it, understand certain words. Like if I'm reading it, I can understand certain words because even though they sound different, they're kind of spelled very similar to English words. So if I'm reading it, I can kind of like translate it a little bit and make out more of what it's saying. And just learning like the letters, numbers, colors, just your normal things. And then I took Spanish in college, and then I took I couldn't pass it in college. I guess the professor was pretty challenging, and then I took Italian in order to get the credit that I needed for college. So you don't realize that you're just taking classes to get so many credits, and then once you get the credits, that's how you get a degree. So when I came up here, around a whole lot of diversity, something I was not, like in college, I had gotten equipped to a lot of diversity, but just in a community, not so much. So up here, very diverse community in Bolingbrook. If you look it up, a lot of people come here to Illinois from other continents looking for work, on visas, a lot of trade and transport. You can just go into a warehouse or a factory and get a job any day. But I don't feel like I want all these student loans and you have this so-called $100,000 desired degree in order to get us, certification, salary, or job, and then you can't use it. So my whole goal is like, to use it towards, whatever career or job, whatever. So coming up here, my mother-in-law, who had been a teacher's aide for the school district for years, I think ever since her kids were like 7 or 8, in Bolingbrook. They've been living over here for 30 years before the promenade was built, before any of this land was land. So they used to always tell me about it. Um, but anyway, told us to start guest teaching, and my ex-husband wasn't really feeling it. But I just wanted a stable income, honestly. With the work really didn't matter. I didn't come from a place where, we were a certain collar, blue collar, white collar. We, were raised to, work in certain jobs or conceited or none of that. No, my mom moved us from the west side of Jackson to the south side to better educate us. And my sister was the first person in our school to go off and get college educated. And it really opened a lot of doors for her as far as like stability and stuff. So my sister, kind of pushed it on me like, okay, take your ACT, go to college, get your degree. Even though I should have went to a college that was going to fully pay for my degree. And I did have a few scholarship offers that were, but I decided to go to this college because it was better represented as a school, so to speak. Or a little bit more challenging when it came to degree, or if they saw it on my resume down south, I probably would, more likely to get a job. Like we were looking at those things because technology was coming into effect. So like, you have a certain name and all that plays in effect. And if you read any of the statistics, I started getting a lot of phone calls up here from a lot of temp agencies and different things asking me to work because my name is Faith, which is a male Hispanic name. So, of course, in a lot of warehouses and factories, they're probably looking for males. And me being Hispanic, they probably think that I'm, willing to work or in different things. And then when I come into the facility, the whole demeanor changed, their whole personality or approach changes about the situation when they see that I'm actually Black, whether it's Black American or whether it's Black, like Latino or Hispanic, it's still perceived very ugly in the eyes of a Mexican or white, so to speak, person. Or not respected or seen as stupid or all of those things. So very much so different perspective, different attitude when they see me in person. But as I was saying, so I started guest teaching up here, and I realized, just how diverse this situation was, and I was kind of able, to use some of the stuff that I learned in Spain, really well equipped for me. Like, I would get calls from different schools who wanted me to come back and do their classes, specifically long-term assignments, and all of those things. Just getting equipped with the performance of the job. You can get as much book sense as you want to, but just the experience of being inside the environment is what I was looking for, and what I gained. So about 2 years in, I was kind of going through my separation and stuff at the time, but I had a woman walk in my classroom and ask me, was I certified? I told her no, and she pretty much told me that, I probably would get an interview or get a chance to be hired if I was. And so that's what kind of pushed me to say, well, I'm already, 2 years in, why not start looking for schools that would certify me in this field so that I can get the stability and the benefits that I so desire. I'm to be able to take care of myself first and foremost, and then my son. And that's like was my whole goal. So I ended up moving out of Miguel's parents' house, and they moved over here with us. He moved over here with me. And last year, that's when all of these things started to happen. So moving forward, November, I got a phone call and said that I was pretty much indicated, and then I started to start the appeal, sent all this evidence in to the judge, to the state attorney, hundreds and hundreds of emails. I still have them in my phone. If you look under Fabian Lawson 30, you know my passwords, but or my emails, you could pretty much just go into my sent messages, and there's just a lot of sent messages to the judge and to the state attorney of just a lot of evidence that I felt, would show that I wasn't trying to hurt my son or put my son in a certain situation. But obviously, if this stuff is on your name, then it's hard to go in any children's center or any, place where they are administrating kids and apply for a job and to think that they'll give you one because, you're being seen as, being harmful or hurtful to kids. So when it's over your name. So of course I'm going to keep fighting it. I have, about a year and a half still in my master's to be certified. So it's no like rush. But at the same time, it's like something that needs to don't plan on quitting. So I'm going to continue, whether I can pay for this apartment or not, whether I keep this furniture or not, whether I'm living in a tent in my car, I'm going to continue to work towards my master's in education until I'm certified. I'm going to get the diploma. I'm going to be proud of myself, congratulate myself, and take lovely pictures and know that, I've accomplished the goal that I set out to do, with or without someone telling me or trying to put me in a place or position me into, whatever field they feel like I'm, equipped to do. So that's the thing I feel like is wrong with a part of our society is that we culturalize people's ability. You can only be a doctor if you're part of this culture. I'll only, these stigmatizing ways of doing stuff. You can only play basketball or play certain sports if you're part of this culture, and we're obviously killing that, when it comes to baseball, when it comes to gymnastics, when it comes to a lot of different sports. We're showing that that is definitely not the it's not real. That's fake. It's not statistically proven. Like, ability is ability. If you're being exposed to it, if you're getting the experience, then you're willing to try and you're willing to fail, you're willing to perfect it, then you're capable of accomplishing anything as a human. Like we need to like delete all these stigmatizing and culturalizations of different people and saying that, you're only able to meet this standard because you're in this culture. You know what I'm saying? And that's not true at all. Me coming from a single Black woman, raised 6 kids out of Jackson, Mississippi, one of the poorest states to live in, and being publicly educated, I was able to go to a, school where there was, I was the minority, all white college, and get a degree in one of the hardest majors out there. So don't tell me what can be done. And could have went on to take my MCAT and go to medical school. And if I still choose to do that, there is options, there is the opportunity. But I didn't feel like I wanted to be in school and continue to take out that many loans towards as being a doctor, as much school as you have to go to and how many loans you have to take out, um, and be able to have a family and take care of my family. I thought that being a teacher would be awesome career because you have the summers off. I have a lot of time with my kid, we're on the same schedule, obviously, if he's in school and I'm working in the school, and the benefits of just, my ex husband wanted me to have more kids, like, and I definitely was, okay with that, but I want to be stable. I want to be able to bring my income. I want to be able to do things that I want to do for myself and for my household before I start to push out, more and more kids into this world. I want to be able to provide them with some stability, in their future, not just now, start to put up funds and different things so that they can have something to start with, whether they want to do trade or whether they want to do a college degree. It's like I want to make sure that they're prepared. And so how do I do that? Well, I have to make sure I'm in the right stability. I have to make sure that I'm taken care of first. Like they say, on the airplane, you don't put the mask on your neighbor first, put the mask on yourself first. Like you got to make sure you can breathe before you try to save somebody else. So that was my point for even divorcing my ex-husband. It's like I got to make sure, what I'm saying, he needs to make sure he can breathe before you try to save me. How you gonna go save another woman and say you're gonna take care of another woman and you're not even ready to take care of yourself? That's my reason for not putting him on child support or alimony. Like he struggled, like with the child support of his first daughter, and I saw it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I feel like it was a lot more of just wanting to entertain himself so much, that young mindset, what I'm saying, of like the social media world where you got to have on the best shoes and you got to have on $100 outfits and you got to travel, and be in Dubai and all these different countries and all these different states that's so prone, that's the shit, you got to go to these different certain restaurants and, look all high maintenance and all that, but then you're going back home to your parents. That doesn't make, or you're going back home, to a house that has nothing in it, so it's like, why would I go and entertain myself? It's a lot of nice restaurants just walking down my street. I can run into several, nice, just locally owned restaurants, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I'd rather just go spend $5 on a meal, $6 on a meal than to go spend 50 knowing that I'm barely meeting the necessities of my home, like, food, shelter, clothing, transportation. That's, what I'm saying? Like all that other stuff, like I could go spend $1,000, at the mall and have a whole lovely wardrobe and, just out here, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's not my priority. That's not what's important to me. You know what I'm saying? The hair and all that, like I'm on my hair right now. I'm not thinking about, fixing my hair because I'm not trying to attract anyone. I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying? That's not the idea. I feel like that takes away from a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm, so-called seen as a beautiful woman and stuff like that. And that was one thing, my mom just didn't like really make a big deal. I love you, I'm here for you, I'm gonna be here. But like, what I'm saying? She didn't make it where um beauty was everything. You get what I'm saying? Like we didn't spend a lot of time in the mirror doing our makeup all the time. Like she kept our hair braided to grow. And that was pretty much it. I think I like put or got into a car wreck or something when I was 15. So I ended up having to like cut some out and I ended up relaxing and it kind of like stunted the hair just kind of came out, I guess, through stress. I think I was kind of just in that point where like, oh my God, my whole life is about to change. Like, I'm so used to this lifestyle of just being with my son and blah, blah. Like, I feel like I just went through a really stress, and so my hair started to come out. So then I just went back to what I knew when I was younger. Like my mom used to let my uncle Bebe, my uncle's girlfriend Bebe, which he has 2 kids by Shakira and Akeem. Shakira actually went to Mississippi State right after me. Is still back in Mississippi. Both of my cousins. But her mom used to braid our hair like every 2 weeks, like literally. So, just for me to just be like, ooh, I need the lashes, I need the nails, I need the la la la. Like I'm just not, I'm more like I'd rather be active, working out, playing, stuff like that, swimming or something like that, than to just be like, oh, my priority goal today is just to look, like whatever society tells you to look like. No, not to fuck off. My priority goal is, to get my master's in education so that I can get the stability that I need. So that I can, if I want to do those things, are the things that I can do, every week, every 2 weeks, not just because I'm pulling it out of something that should be towards my necessities, but that is a part of my budget and something that I can do because, it's accessible to me. So, like my mom just never did that. She really didn't like make us, feel like that we can just go and just, be with anyone because we were so pretty and blah blah blah. Like it's just like work. You gonna work for it and you'll get it or not. Like they without work is dead. I'm saying you could believe as much, but you gotta just put the steps in. Take an effort to try. And she would always tell us if you at least try, God's gonna open the door. Or make sure that things are in place so that you can get to the next step so that you can accomplish your goals. So we were more raised like that, just to have faith and believe and work towards whatever we inspire, empire, whatever we desire, and don't give up. We're just don't quit. Like, and fail and fail and fail again, but don't quit. And eventually you'll get there. And so that's my plan, as far as my master's degree. I'm not, going to quit. It's 49 other states. It's not something that you can hold over me forever. I was obviously wrongfully arrested. Anytime you run 50 feet over to arrest me, and then you delete the video, then obviously you feel as a cop that you didn't do, what you should have done appropriately in the state of how, cops should handle those manners. If you felt the need to delete the video, if you felt the need that, because if you didn't, then if you felt like you was following all the policies and handling things accordingly, then you would have. And then I even read on Facebook the other day about how, have your own video these days, or even, before there was no video, so people could just lie. And if you got, a whole lot of police who are witnesses and they lie and witness to the same thing that the police witnessed, then obviously then there is, that's their evidence that's justified. So, and it's hard to say that, to put that together because that's not justice. But so it's just like, why would you do that? Why would you delete the video? But I was looking on Facebook and it talked about how it's good to just have your own video or own recordings, and DCFS police and all of them can say that you can record, but by law you are able to record them, and that their cam recorders on their suit should be on at all times. So not only did I feel like they have recorders on their cam, but they also have their car. Because when I went to one of the meetings to speak to my public defender who's supposed to be defending me and not putting me in a situation where I feel like, I'm not being heard, but she showed me a little bits and pieces of the video. And it's kind of really, I don't think a coincidence that I read that paper the other day, because it said pretty much exactly what she did, that the police will try to show you bits and pieces of the video that they have in order to make it you look like you're criminal, like you're the criminal. So that's why they say it's always good to have your own video, because it could be years before they decide to release the entire video of what the scenery looked like as a whole. So therefore I have the video in my phone. I started to video as soon as they pulled up because, like I said, it's almost like I was provoked. Like she spat on me twice to see, I guess, was I going to attack her? But spitting on someone is actually against the law. To put your saliva literally. So, maybe it's not a big deal when some person who does it who's not, but let some rapper or, football player or, that's the fine. So for a person, I think it goes under maybe assault or something like that, or one of those when you're being spit on. So I continue to walk, away. Because like I said, like why would I put my hands on someone and like I know that obviously, to put your hands on someone is putting something, like get press charges can be pressed against you. If I'm sitting here working towards my master's, talking about working towards my master's, then went to school and know, the challenges of what a background could do to you. Why would I intentionally sacrifice everything that I've, worked towards a 5-year degree, because I'm, want to put my hands on someone that I don't even know, that I, what I'm saying, don't have, won't any contact with, don't know anything about. They end up moving out of here. I haven't seen them in one of the meetings that I've been to. I haven't, what I'm saying? They literally lived up under me for 3 months after this situation happened. Um, so if you felt like if at any point that I was going to harm you or put you in danger, do you think you should have stayed around? What I'm saying? So that's why I feel like on my window right now it says Woodbridge Police and DCFS set me up. That's what it says, and I'm innocent. And I'm gonna keep coming out and reaching out and talking about it, whether it's YouTube Live, TikTok Live, or Facebook Live every day. I'll make it a part of my day, because I feel like it needs to be said. A lot of people are preyed on, that are single women, minority women, women that don't have or not economically equipped to fight the situation, or the women that are preyed on. Obviously, as a police, as a CPS worker, you have to have a certain amount of numbers that you hit every month, in order for you to, when you're getting watched on your job, or, making sure you're doing your job correctly. There's probably a certain amount of numbers you have to bring in during a certain amount of time. And I don't know, I heard, coming into my house and seeing that my son was obviously my priority. How did she feel the need to call CPS? Why didn't she take me to the side as a woman to woman, and have a conversation with me or try to figure out the issue? Your first encounter, is to call CPS. I called the police 9 times on the person that was harassing and following me around, and mentally and emotionally abusing me. Not only that, but physically abused me more than once. So why would I, you know what I'm saying? Um, Intentionally put my son in any danger? Why would I, intentionally, when that's my whole purpose of working, getting my master's and everything is so that I can stably take care of myself, so I can stably take care of my son. I don't feel like that's anyone's responsibility but mine, and his father's. And I chose to leave his father, and therefore it's not his responsibility to take care of me. So how else do I do that? Because I take care of myself. Like, I could have had no problem when I separated, going back home, going to another state, starting, a relationship with someone who could actually take care of me. Not an issue at all. But I chose to stay in the area, not even dating anyone. Like, I didn't start dating Miguel, like, literally until after, my ex-husband knew we were separated, after I had filed the divorce papers, after we knew that this was going on. I was just paying his mom to live there, in one of the rooms. And I was also paying for the apartment that my ex-husband and my son was living. Well, he wasn't really living. He would go back and forth between Miguel's mom house with me and my old apartment where I lived with my ex-husband. So I was paying for half of that also, because that apartment was totally in my name. because at the time we moved in, he didn't have a job. He started guest teaching after we moved into there because he didn't feel like guest teaching was the right fit for him. But I guess once he saw the money it was making me, which provided us to move into our first apartment, then he decided that he would work the opportunity too. Um, so like I said, I stayed here. I stayed here and continued to involve my son in his father's life. I'll let him know, when the teachers' meetings were, if, there were any, he got sick or if he needed something, I kept communications with, even after he moved out of the apartment when the lease ended, moved back in with his parents, and his parents decided that my son was not allowed to be in their house because he likes to stay up. CJ likes to stay up late at night, and I think he just gets that from probably near his dad or whatever. And I guess his grandmother, mom didn't want CJ at her house, so literally I was paying for daycare, paying for my to live, going through school, working, and making sure my son was in daycare for a while there before she decided that, it was okay for my son to come to her home. And so that was that as far as that situation. Um, but after, let me see, December 15th, I've pretty much, just been going through all of these meetings and different things. Like I said, not once seeing the people who actually attacked me, but they lived up under me for 3 months and moved out in March when their lease ended. They actually moved in here in March. And, this is Illinois. So in Illinois, it is totally offensive or not the norm to just speak to random people, not to even look at them. I realized like how, I'm not trying to downplay all the crime and the things that's going on, but like if you're not watching your surroundings, it's kind of easy to be attacked. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people almost purposely, you know what I'm saying, like ignore you or look straight. And I don't know if that's like a defense mechanism or I'm just not letting you know I'm not trying to be your business mechanism or I'm minding my own business. I have nothing to do with what's going on outside of me, but people don't speak up here. Like people literally have their parties inside of their families. They're not too quick to invite people outside of the people that they immediately know. You get what I'm saying? They don't really make friends. You don't see that a lot up here. To even look, I remember coming up here and I think I had said hey to this little cute girl, and my ex-husband was like, no, don't do that. She's like, these people think you're trying to take their kids. And I'm just like, it's just a totally different, like it's rude to walk past someone and not say, hey, how you doing? But the more and more I've lived up here, the more and more I've gotten equipped to just minding my own business, not just being the Southern person that I'm more so, or if I was to go home, people would expect me to be. My connection is unstable. So, for these people downstairs to come and knock on my door, speak to me, and then even in Walmart, the lady comes up to me and asks me, do I know where to get any marijuana from? So my thing is either you thought we both were illegal because you hear Miguel and you hear Baby, and maybe you thought I was some type of drug dealer. Maybe, yeah, I don't know what you thought. But for you to come to Walmart and ask me a question like that, you have to think something. Or maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe your boyfriend does. Maybe you're just trying to see where my head was. I'm from the hood, so I think about many perspectives of what could have been. But like it's a million dispensaries around here. So for you to come up and ask me that you don't know me, then that's like a problem in itself. Like what are you trying to gain from these situations? So eventually, like I said, on December 15th, I was coming down my stairs, just going to the gas station. I think I had an interview that day. At 10, I still got the email because I was in a point. midst of, still just trying to look for jobs in August when unemployment had went down, I had went over to Amazon in Michigan. Actually, another person had told me about it through this app that I had on my phone, where you could pretty much just like pick jobs by the day if you want to work or whatever. And told me about this kind of long-term assignment where I could kind of go out on like a kind of, I guess you want to call it a trip, work trip, whatever. And we literally just worked at Amazon every day for like $200. So it was nice because it was supplementing me for the money that I didn't have and was probably going to get me through well, I think it did. It got me through like September and October, maybe November of that year. So I think I stayed for maybe a month. I ended up working through with Amazon for like 4 weeks. We were up there and we were putting computers together. It was pandemic, so they were separating some of the computers to give people 6 feet social distancing, and we were putting fences together. I actually met a group that travels from state to state doing fencing and wiring. I don't know if you saw on the Amazon commercials where they're packing in those yellow robots. And they're like, oh, this is what I do all day. They just stand there and they pack in these little small products that they pack in these yellow big robots. Um, but we were putting down the sensors so the robots can move accordingly for the job. So that was pretty much what we did at the job. So I was able to save enough to be able to kind of maintain. And then right before that, I had went to a job who called me and asked me to come out and work. I think which was gonna probably give me about $800 a week. So I was like, okay, cool. If I can consistently work this job, then I can stop filing for unemployment. I'll have a stable income. So I think I stayed there for about 2 3 days. These people literally called the police and told the police that I was shooting at them. So I also have that video I have where the police literally admits that they were sitting on the hill and they didn't hear any gunshots because I'm sitting here telling them like, man, sir, I work in this school district right here in Longville. Literally, I go to these little schools right down the street. What the fuck am I going to be riding around here for? What or why? I need income. I need money so I can pay these bills. Why would I return back to the place where I was shooting, thinking I'm going to go into work and finish my other 3 hours? Is that crazy as hell or what? You get what I'm saying? So don't sit here and try to make me out to be somebody I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was, I'm up here in Illinois. Only people I know is Miguel, my ex-husband. I met a friend, a girl about a year ago when my car broke down and I had to catch Ubers to work for like a month. And she was an Uber driver and she lived in the apartment. I met her. I met like 2 3 guys since I've been single. But it's like, where would I buy a gun from? Where am I gonna go get one from? You hear what I'm saying? Like, so there is no reason for me to have one. But that was around. That was right after, so to speak, to say um, that this woman. So I went and I got the reports from Romeoville. Um, police way against equal opportunity rights for the company not to even investigate the issue, but just fire me. Um, but yeah, so here's that video.
So now I have two officers here, and I've been told that I was terminated because I drove out of the clinic using side of my head. But one of the things that taken inside of her head, and there was no gunshots fired. They say they heard gunshots. So something of the sort. But the police right down the street, so they heard gunshots. The supervisor, TJ and one, and they heard them. And the police right down the street that was 500 feet away would also heard gunshots. So this is TJ and one, and they're firing me for saying that they're terminating me. I'm terminated TJ. Hello, TJ. Isn't that your name? That's your name, TJ?
So you see how he changed the story up. So I think it was like I worked Monday, I worked Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm sitting in my car. Or no, I think I started Tuesday. I started Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm sitting in my car on lunch break, and two police pulls up. I'm just on break. Walks directly to my car and says that someone anonymously called the police. Now this job that called me and asked me. It's a Lego place. They I started working for them. I'm in my car eating my Chipotle I had left over. You know, asked me that I call the police. No, yeah, asked me that I call the police. No, didn't call the police at all. Why would I call the police? I'm sitting in my car eating